Welcome to the Bitcoin Infinity Show, brought to you by Bitbox, Stampseed, the Bitcoin Advisor, and ShopInBit. Go to bitcoininfinity.com for books, merch, and more. Enjoy the conversation.
Lando, welcome to the Bitcoin Infinity Show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. I've been a big fan of you both for a while, even when it was still called Freedom Footprint Show, which I think is the better name, but we can get into that later.
I mean, we get that a lot, that Freedom Footprint is a better name. And I would just like to publicly announce that you can call this show Freedom Footprint Show if you want. Like SCG, there is nothing stopping you. We are freedom lovers. Call it whatever you want. Like, you can call it the Luke and Knut Show or the, Tim and Eric Show, just to confuse people. Call it what you want. Anyway, welcome to the Freedom Infinity Footprint Show. Whatever show.
I think that would also work. Freedom Infinity Show. So from here on out until the end of time, we'll try to live in freedom. So that's like let's have a new moral bar, right? So let's start with that.
Absolutely. Infinite Footprint Show sounds a bit too much like dinosaur show. Like, I just imagine a ginormous footprint. Anyway, we are longtime fans of yours because you are not just a talker, but a doer. You've been walking the walk when it comes to enabling freedom technologies and providing freedom tools to people via your fantastic website, ShopInBit. So can you give us a TLDR on Lando Rothbardian, where you got that lovely surname from, and all of that? And also a short introduction to ShopInBit and how ShopInBit came to be. And we'll deep dive into sub-caverns of this specific rabbit hole later in the show.
Sure. So I think I'll start with my name because I think it's important that you choose a name for yourself when you reach a certain age, I would guess. Like in the former times, you had these rite of passages, etc. But your parents gave you your real name. So my real name is Lawrence, right? But I chose Lando Rothbardian because I wanted to convey two things about me, so people who are in the know, right, who know a bit about Austrian economics, already know what I'm about, right? So, of course, Lando Calrissian is this fictitious Star Wars character, and he is the only entrepreneur in the original saga. So that is my first focus, like being a businessman. And my second focus is anarcho-capitalism, where my last name comes in, Rothbardian. So because I'm a fan of Mary Rothbard, I thought combining Lando Calrissian with Mary Rothbard equals Lando Rothbardian, and it sounds cool. So that's a bonus.
Sounds super cool. And the opposite would be Darth Marx or something, right?
Exactly. Darth Marx with his co-conspirator Darth Engels, right? The rule of two is still in full effect, right?
Yeah.
And so since I'm a very business-focused person, or rather I chose this role for me in 2018 because I've been in the Bitcoin game since 2011, actually. And I have done nothing in the years leading up to the creation of ShopInBit. I was just stacking some coins, spending them on way too expensive dinners, in hindsight, of course. But so in 2018, after experiencing 110 degrees Celsius on my lovely AMD graphics card, I thought I should just go on the internet and buy a graphics card with my hard-earned peer-to-peer electronic cash money. And that shouldn't be so problematic to do it directly. But it turned out that it was actually quite difficult because the only option I had at the time was either using vouchers, and I thought vouchers were a bit too cheaty, I would say. because I think it's called peer-to-peer currency for a reason. So it should work peer-to-peer, right? And then I found this one little store in Germany that actually offered to ship graphics cards for Bitcoin. But then it turned out that they were giving the BitPay fee of 1% directly to me as a little bonus. So I was supposed to pay 1% extra. And this sounds like it's super nitpicky, but in Germany, it's not allowed that you pass on the payment processing fees to the customers as an extra price point, right? So you know that every retailer and e-commerce store on the internet in Germany calculates all the prices with the fees already included. And when you know that PayPal takes starting from 3% and more, then it doesn't make sense that the seller will charge 1% extra only for Bitcoin payments and not for other types of payments. And that got me so furious. Like, I think for 2 to 3 months, I was not able to sleep because I was like, it's 2018. It's been 7 years since you've gone down this rabbit hole, and you're literally not one step forward. I actually made 2 steps back, right? And then I had this magnificent idea like in April of 2018. Okay, you know what? Why don't you just do it yourself? It can't be that hard to sell products on the internet with a profit, right? How hard can it be? Spoiler alert, super hard, because retail is like a super difficult business, especially if you want to go into electronics. So I've been working since then until the end of 2018 to start my little online shop. And I started with WordPress and WooCommerce. And yeah, it looked cool with my type of skills. Just have to explain that my programming skills were on the level of Khan Academy JavaScript course for children. So that was it. That was my level of sophistication in the programming sphere. And from then on, yeah, I started selling all kinds of products. And now almost 1.25 of it later, right? We're here. ShopInBit.com is Europe's biggest Bitcoin store. We have 1 million plus products available directly for purchase with Bitcoin and Lightning, of course. You get 3% discount if you use it instead of the classic Fiat rails. And we ship within the European Union. And we also do extra services that we like to call the premium services, right? So apart from just having regular day-to-day items in the store, we offer a little bit on extra of service. And these are the concierge service. So if you need anything else that is not on our website and legal, of course, we can organize that and ship it worldwide because it's all manually done. We support you in if you have questions about products or if you want to import products like from Japan. We have some customers who like to have these super expensive Leica lenses for the cameras, and they're mostly found in Japan. So we import them to the EU or somewhere else and help people get going with that. And I think the one service that you guys already used a bit, which I think is should be the more interesting part for most of you listeners, is of course our travel agency. So if you want to travel to any Bitcoin conference or just do a vacation, or if you like a Bitcoin company and need company travels for your staff or your CEO, we also do that because we're a fully licensed travel agency as well. So yeah, that's the TLDR, I think. But it got a little bit longer, so it's medium-sized TLDR.
Yeah. Speaking of medium size, I have only one question about the ShopInBit website that is slightly different from other online shops, and that is the categories here. It starts with adults only, and the very first product, I don't even know if I am allowed to say this here, but the very first product on the site is an anal dildo. So is it giant and green? I mean, how did that come to be?
I think the adult section we added like relatively late, I guess. I think we added it in 2020, I would say, because we were already like getting worse SEO ranking because of the whole we're accepting Bitcoin thing, and then it didn't actually make any difference anymore if you also put in adult toys, and people just love to have some kinky stuff going on, the whole sensuality thing. So I thought that we should just add it there.
And I guess it's just an alphabet thing, right? That
It's
starts
just
with
an alphabet thing, but we are
Adult
currently
starts-
in like a restructuring phase because there is actually, you can have too many products, and that's like our current main problem. And that's what we are currently working on. And we want to get a bit away of too many products and focus more on providing more high quality products and maybe at a more focused scope instead of my former shotgun approach to what products to add. All of them, right? So, but I can actually tease that. So because we are opening a second online store just for Switzerland, which will be shopinbit.ch, and it will launch on the 25th of October. And there we already implemented our new style, I would say. So it's not the biggest online store, but we are the privacy-focused department store, because I think that's the other thing that people will like about our store, is that we literally have zero marketing analytics, tracking cookies, etc. So you can check it with your uBlock if you're a little bit technically versed, and you will see that there we don't even have Google fonts, like the fonts for the website, so they look a little bit more flashy and stuff. We don't even have them. So we are very serious about the whole privacy stuff. So I think that should be our two USPs, like paying directly with Bitcoin and our immense focus on privacy. Like we go to lengths, and it's really hard to do e-commerce without privacy invading tools, because everyone wants you to like, hey, don't you need more data? Hey, we can do some more analytics.
Yeah, that's what we realized when we started our shop here. Like, holy shit, the amount of data you get on people, which you just have to collect if you run an online store, right?
Yeah.
It is hard, but yeah, I really appreciate that. Now there's no cookies and stuff, and the collaboration you had with Wasabi Wallet is super cool. Maybe I wasn't supposed to say that. Maybe we should edit that out.
No, that's okay. It's
You
still
have
running
privacy
because,
too. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we can edit out the previous question as well. I don't know. This conversation is taking other directions, but
No worries. Like, no, it's a cool collaboration, and it's still ongoing because the teams have changed, of course, because of the recent developments with Wasabi. But you can use our premium services as well through the Wasabi wallet, and also in the near future, also with the other forks like Ginger. So that's coming. It's in the works. But since we've been opening up the new Swiss company, we had to get the legal stuff in the background going. So that's why it's not as hard promoted as it used to be, but it will be back.
all right. So, but there is for the Bitcoiners who do not know, there are ways of buying practically anything you want for Bitcoin in total privacy in the EU right now. Like, and it's super cool. Very anti-authoritarian and I mean very Rothbardian, for lack of a better word. Buying and selling stuff should not be a crime anywhere. Like, that's the gist of it, right?
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest problem within the EU currently. Like, you always feel like you're a criminal, even though you're 100% illegal. Like we have we're going the extra mile to stay legal, right? Because sometimes people ask us for like accessories for their sporting weapons, like bows, crossbows, etc. But we have the internal rule: no weapons of any kind. Like, it's not that it's illegal. Like, our jurisdiction is Poland, and everyone knows Poland is a little bit more easygoing when it comes to guns. But I personally don't want to be involved in that kind of business. So we're not even doing that. And the same as with prescription medicine, live animals and stuff, like everything that's off the table. So if you want to have, as the dark market guys would say, oh, that's only the boring stuff. Yeah, but that's what we focus on. We're the family-friendly Bitcoiner store, right?
Yeah, except for the giant green dildos then.
No. I think that's called marriage helping devices or something. I saw the spin on it a few days ago and thought hilarious.
Oh, that's great. And tell us a bit more about this concierge service. Like, well, how does that work?
Yeah, it's actually quite simple. So, as you might have experienced, a concierge in a hotel is the always ready, available guy who's like in the background. And then you're coming to a new city and you're in your hotel and think, yeah, I don't know where to go with my wife. Like, I have no clue where to go. You go to the concierge and he, just like magic, has prepared for you 3 options and can reserve a table in 2 hours. And then you can have the best time of your life with your wife, right? That's like the idea behind it. And so in our version, the concierge just helps you get anything you want. So you literally just have to describe to our concierge in our form on the website, or you can send an email. And in the near future, you can also do a live chat with our concierge, but we're still working on it. So it works privately. And you just describe like, okay, example for Luke, for example, says, you know what? I want to go fancy. Yeah, I need this diamond beholden baby toy that makes the sound of Super Mario coins getting collected when you rattle it. And you can only import it from Japan. So you write that to the concierge, and then the concierge starts searching for it. We calculate all the import fees, transportation costs, etc. And then we send Luke like a message: hey, Luke, this is the total price, everything going. Do you want to take it or not? And that's the point where you decide if you want to pay for it or not. Before that, all the consultation is free. It's included in our service. And then Luke says, yes, let's go, sends the Bitcoin. And then we start working on. He gets frequent updates with tracking codes, where's the product, etc. So we first ship it to our warehouse in Warsaw. So all the import stuff is already done. And then from Warsaw, we ship it to you, wherever you are in the world. Luke, I don't know if you want to be doxxed, so I would just say somewhere in the world. Yes, and also to Madeira, Knut, so no worries.
That's a good meta doxing here, since I don't live on Madeira.
No, I just actually assumed it because you're so involved with the Free Madeira project. But
yeah, I know. A lot of people assume I live in Madeira, and I like it.
Okay, yeah, let's just stay with that. Yeah, so that's like the TLDR of the concierge service. So you ask for it, you get it, done.
Fantastic. And how does that differ from the travel concierge service?
Yeah, so because I think travel is a bit more complex sometimes, and I think most people don't, like, they have a vague idea about what they want to experience in their travel. And you can have like mediocre or lame experiences if you're just like going by, okay, yeah, I saw this on the internet and maybe I should go there. But the big difference by using our travel concierge is that you can ask what you think you would like to do. And our travel concierge that's driving, Keith, he's been to almost 40 countries everywhere, and like even Svalbard. And I don't know why you would go there like without a gun to your head because it's so fucking cold, but he was there, right? And you can just ask him, like, for example, if you would say, yeah, I want to go to Japan, right? And you say, okay, Luke and Knut, go together to Japan, do an off-road podcasting tour with all the Japanese Bitcoiners, right? And then Traven would ask you like, okay, like, do you have a budget? Do you have other specific amenities that you need? Or do you want to do the samurai tour? So of course you have to visit the old Nobunaga castle and, and maybe even have a session with an old samurai master, how to cut the bamboo in the right way, right? These like the question that Traven would ask you, so he knows where he should send you. Because it's very different if you want to be like, okay, like, for example, if Luke was like the super anime nerd and needs to see everything in Shibuya and go to the One Piece museum, that's very different if Knut wants to visit old samurai masters and talk about Miyamoto Musashi's story and visit the cave where he supposedly lived the end of his life, right? So that's like two very different types of travel. And Traven is like the guy to find the right type of travel that you're looking for. Yeah.
I love that you think of two things that sounded so different in terms of what they were, but still sound so extremely Japanese, both of them.
Yeah, because I'm both of these types.
You're fighting, what's it called, that movie? Battle Royale with a Tamagotchi or something. Like
exactly. That's my type of style.
Sounds wonderful. No, I've been using the service myself for a while now, and Traven is amazing in terms of knowledge about the aircraft and everything, and what you need and what the difference is between one ticket and the other, and all the surrounding things, all the airports. So he very knowledgeable and a really cool service, I think.
Yeah. So if you just want to have the best experience and not the hassle of finding out about all the destinations where you could go, which aircraft to take, which airport to take, etc., you can just offload the annoying, boring stuff, as I like to call it, to us and just get the ticket from us. And then your journey starts when you leave the house, go to the airport, your ticket works everywhere. You have one ticket, even if you're doing a world tour, not 15 different tickets, because every airline don't want to work together, because we are a real licensed travel agency. That's why we can give you one ticket for all the airports and not 15 different ones, right? So we can all combine them. And then your journey just starts and you just, you experience it. You have the best time of your life. That's like my minimum requirements for experiences with ShopInBit. It needs to be the best time of your life. If it's less, then it's not on the Bitcoin standard for me, but I'm a little bit, let's call it perfectionist.
Oh, it's fantastic. What a service.
Great news, everyone.
Bitcoin, the Inverse of Clown World, is out now.
It's the successor to Everything Divided by 21 Million, and it's based on the last 2 years of podcasts that we've done together. So if you like the show, you're going to love the book.
Find the book on bitcoininfinitystore.com or on Amazon.
That's right. We have our own store now, bitcoininfinitystore.com. You can find not just books, but merchandise based on Everything Divided by 21 Million, the Inverse of Clown World. That's bitcoininfinitystore.com.
So check out Bitcoin, the Inverse of Clown World today and buy some other stuff while you're there too.
This show is brought to you by Bitbox, our favorite hardware wallet. It's Swiss engineered and has all the most important security features to keep your Bitcoin safe, while keeping a user experience that even your grandma can use. So visit bitbox.swiss/freedom to learn more, or use code FREEDOM at checkout for 5% off. And remember, it's the Bitbox 02 Bitcoin Only edition. Make sure to get that Bitcoin Only firmware.
Bitbox. If I'm correct, the first time we met was at the Free Cities conference, like 3 years ago or something. Was that the first time?
I think so, yes. It must have been the 2022 edition of the Liberty in Our Lifetime conference.
Yeah, but we knew about each other before that, but I think that was the first time in real life. And
yeah,
and you're the name Rothbardian sort of gives it away, but you're a big believer in libertarian ideals, and so can you tell us a little about that and how like how that ties into building this store to make things available without KYC. I mean, and to make things easier for people.
Yeah. How that ties in? Well, it kind of necessitates being very ultra libertarian or ANCAP, if you want to shorten it up. Because like there's lots of talkings about free markets do this, free markets do that. But the gist of Mises' writings is actually that there is no free market and there is no state. It's just people who do stuff, right? That's the that's your book about praxeology summed up in one sentence. Sorry.
Yes. That's Mises condensed into my book and then condensed into one sentence. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So that's like, and please, people, you should read the book. It's very good from Knut. So thumbs up here. No, but as soon as you realize that people do stuff, you need to decide for yourself what you want to do with your life, right? I could have, of course, just laid back, hollowed, stacked some more, and then wait until someday magically someone would appear and have the same understanding or the same vision for the future as I have. And my vision is just that we can use Bitcoin on a day-to-day basis, just live our life and actually see the free markets like evolving out of this cyberpunkian dystopia that we live in right now. Because you see, like, there are so many companies right now alive and doing well, which totally don't make any sense. Like, if you, like, I think the most basic example is the whole streaming sector. It's an industry that's built on losing money. There is no way mathematically that you can generate enough money with the subscription to fund all these media programs that they are funding. Like it's an infinity game in the other sense. And they've just been going on, and it's quite convenient, yes, but they are not literally working. Like they are so highly in debt. Like
no, and there's another aspect to this also, which ties into intellectual property. And as the Rothbardians, we both know that intellectual property is bullshit and it doesn't exist. So what the streaming services, especially for, movie and TV content are doing is that they're not in competition because their content is exclusive to them. So it's basically everything behind a paywall. You can't watch HBO stuff on Disney Plus and vice versa, or on Netflix. So they're not really competing. It's not a free market thing. It's fake artificial monopolies created around a subset of intellectual quote unquote property. So property. So it's it's sort of pointing out to us, and this is, I think, the internet in general pointed out to us, since everything is copyable. Information was always copyable. It's just it's so much more efficient to copy stuff on the internet than or on computers in general than in physical space, because you have to literally write the data down again. So it sort of points out that this whole intellectual property thing is complete bullshit from beginning to end. Because why? And I remember those whole ads for not pirating video material back in like the late 90s, where would you steal a car? Would you steal a phone? Therefore, you shouldn't pirate copyrighted material. And it's such bullshit, because the person who gets pirated didn't lose anything. Like, if someone copies my book, I didn't lose the book. Like, there's like, I want people to copy it because that means they read it. Like, they had to read it to copy it. Like, that's the whole point of a book, for the material to be copied, for it to go into someone else's brain. Otherwise, the book is pointless. Like, and this is for all intellectual property, and it's just pointing out to us. So it's so blatantly obvious that all copyright laws are bullshit. And
yes, and there's a Rothbardian way to circumvent all this copyright protection, paywalls, etc. Because you just have to make the service sexy enough that people just really want to pay for it. Because if you're looking at, like, in the beginning of Netflix, if we go back to, I don't know, what's it, like 2015, 2016 or something, when I discovered Netflix for myself, it was a revelation, because all the shows from all the different channels, they were all in one platform. I could switch from person of interest, going over to, I don't know, Psych, and then watching CSI Miami. I don't know, I'm just making the stuff right now, right? And there was no friction with it. Because before that, you had to have the different channels, know at which time of the day it was running, or buy all the DVDs, all the Blu-rays, and it was a total mess. And if you didn't want to pay for it, if you wanted to go the pirate route, you would have to go to different sites and have a very high probability of getting malware and viruses on your PC. Now, we are back again at square one, where there are 15 different streaming services that make it super hard to watch anything, because you never know when it's going to disappear from the digital library. You can either buy them again, but then you have to watch the stupid ad about, hey, please don't pirate this Blu-ray that you just bought, and you can't skip it. So again, it's more convenient to just go one of these insane pirate sites where you can stream movies in HD quality for free, no ads whatsoever if you have ad blocks on. It's ridiculous. Like, this is super stupid. And the Rothbardian way to solve all that will be just to make a service that is just 10% better. Like, you can have it on a Netflix way, you pay a little bit more, there are premium shows, but then you get AMAs with the cast, or get posters shipped to your home because you're such a super fan of your show, or whatever. Like, you just need to think a little bit outside of the box, like what connects people with the special property you have, or like, it's not so difficult. But if you're just a lazy VC funded company that's in the Fiat game, right? That's the Fiat game. Lately, I've come to realize that I've been too much player hating and forgetting that it's actually the Fiat game that I hate, right? It's not about Netflix specifically, but it's the whole Fiat game in the background that gives these incentives to do really stupid shit. And that's why I'm so invested in Bitcoin and doing business and trying to tell people that they need to start their own Bitcoin businesses, because you cannot compete with companies that provide jobs and money to people. Like, we've been to quite a lot of conferences in the last years, and I think you've seen it. Like, if you're as long as me in the game, you've seen all the talks, and this constant yapping about stacking more coins is like one part of the problem. But if you compare it to the crypto shenanigans, right? There are lots of people there that do the scamming and make the casino stuff. But the important thing that is generally left out of the conversation is that they actually provide jobs. Binance employs a couple 100,000 of people. I don't know how many they employ. And also all these other shitcoin casinos, they employ people. And like, if you like have a family or have any types of obligations, or maybe like a grandmother that you need to take care of, right? It's cool and all if you can live the Bitcoin lifestyle, but if you're still broke, then like this really doesn't help your cause at all, right? Because if you're still stuck in the Fiat game because your job provides you only the Fiat game to play, then what is it worth to try to live a Bitcoin lifestyle that cannot sustain your current obligations, right? So I think it's really important that we should talk a little bit more openly in the Bitcoin community about building actual profitable Bitcoin businesses, because open source it's great. You know, I love you open source guys out there. Like, we've been using BTC Pay Server for years. We've been supporting the guys through various means, and still open source, and you need to wait for donations and stuff. And that's cool and all, but maybe sometimes when you start a Bitcoin company, asking for a price for a profit actually, like, that gives you the signal, right? The signal from the free markets. Is it a profitable business or is it losing money? It's like there's no in between. You can, of course, middle around and try to put your own funds in there, but then it's just a hobby. And you cannot expect people to change their whole life because of a hobby, right? You need to provide some kind of incentive apart from the ideology. Like, you know me, I'm a crazy guy. I go all in on living a better life. Man must have a code. That's my ish since I saw it in The Wire like 10 years ago. But you also need to make some money. And it would be better if you like make hard money in Bitcoin instead of otherwise. But we need to like have this reality check sometimes. You know what I mean? So sorry, I start ranting.
I mean, it's about bridging that gap, and but this is the tragedy of the commons in a way, because people do work for shitcoin casinos, people do work for these zombie companies, and they do work for these overvalued HBOs and Netflixes of the world. Not to mention Disney, and they make fiat money there, and they think they're happy, and they go home and cry themselves to sleep every night, while we are rebellious, really cool, the cool kids in the bus. But I think this is why we always mantra, like the important thing is not necessarily to push people to spend their Bitcoin, or for people to start accepting Bitcoin for the goods and services. That's where the revolution starts. Like, start accepting Bitcoin for goods and services, because there are so many perks to that. Not to mention like the privacy aspect of it. Like, oh sure, the guy paying you might know your address, but no one else does. Like, if you don't need to give it away, there are so many ways, and I mean, there are so many tools to use and so many avenues into this. And when you start living in the friction-free world of actual Bitcoin transactions, you see that everything else is just bullshit, and there's no moral high ground in defending the old system when there's an obviously superior system around. I think it's that's so bad, and we need people to be heroic and fight against it, because it's going to be obvious one day that this way is better. I mean, to me and many other Bitcoiners, it already is. It is obvious, and this is the hill to die on. Like, what other hill are you going to die on? It's the most important fight of our lives, right? And also with the fiat bullshit and the KYC that we talked about a little earlier here, the whole point of money is to not need KYC. If you know the person, you don't really need money, because you trust the person to pay you back at some point. So you can give them goods or services and, get paid back at some point. KYC defeats the entire purpose of money. The money was invented or discovered in order for people to not have to trust one another when transacting with one another. That's the whole point of money. So there is so much here between the old world and the new, and yeah, choose your battles wisely.
And I think the funniest part about it is that accepting Bitcoin is actually the easiest type of battle that you can do, because like you could, of course, to work with legislation to get it as a legal tender and all that shit, which I personally am not the biggest fan of, because like the Rothbardian speaks again, you need competition everywhere, right? But like, you accept the coin, you don't need to pick up a pitchfork or torches or anything other to go demonstrating and shit. You literally just accept coins, and you show everyone around you that it makes sense to accept it yourself. Like, that's my little in the background work as well. So we talk to our suppliers and we tell them, hey, have you heard about Bitcoin? See, we only have 1% return rate. with your Amazon and other types of Fiat customers, they give you 20% return rate. Don't you want to go in on that action, right? So it's like a better argument than, of course, saying, yeah, so Fiat money is total shit, man. You need to drop immediately that you accept Fiat. You only need to take Bitcoin. Like that ends any conversation with a little click and it's over. But you get the point. Like if you can live by example and show people, okay, it makes sense to accept Bitcoin. These customers are insane, and you really need to check it out, have a better life. Because like I think everyone who has tried accepting money over the internet might have come by the PayPal taking your money problem or holding it hostage. I think they like to call it secure funds for future dispute resolution. And yeah, it's a really stupid thing. Like I have this perfect example from 2021 when we as ShopInBit raised the Bitcoin node amount in the world by 1% in 1 week, because we were able to source all the parts for a Raspberry Blitz node for the cheapest price in Europe. And we sold about 200 of them in a week. And that's the cool part. And now comes the trick with PayPal, because we haven't had that many PayPal payments until then. And then we just had a spike of like 200 transactions, almost 200 transactions in 1 week. And they were said like, no way you made this money legit. We are freezing all of it. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to call our supplier. So I'm calling the first supplier for the electronics part. And I'm telling him, yeah, so you remember how I'm usually paying everything up front? And he said, yeah, sure. What's the problem? I'm like, yeah, so we made this little advertisement for this, for the parts that I told you about. Very thankful that you're reserving the parts for us, but PayPal blocked our money. And he started laughing for 2 minutes straight and said, oh, it's your first time. Yeah. Should have taken it in Bitcoin, right? And he was very nice about it. And he says, sure, no problem. We'll reserve the products for you because we know you pay always, right? Okay. So then I start my journey talking to PayPal. So it took me 5 business days, and I talked to, I would say, until the 7th level support, because everyone was just, no, I can't decide that. Send in this data. Okay. I sent in this data. Talk to the next person. Yeah, I don't know. Sounds scammy. Send next person. And when I finally was at the 7th level, like I literally taught him, like, what the fuck do you want from me? Like I bought all the evidence. You literally can see that we can provide all the products because you have the invoices from our suppliers and the orders. Like, what is your problem? And he was like, yeah, the problem is you made too much money in such a short time. Our algorithm just kicked you. Sorry about that, bro. And then I got the money back. It was like, what? Why?
So you provided too much value to other people in too short of a time frame. That's
you're
what
too successful, PayPal will literally kill your business if you're too successful. Because
it's so violent.
KYC.
Yeah,
AML.
it's super violent. And it's like the banks asking you what you want to do, what you are going to do with your money if you try to withdraw cash nowadays. That's the same thing.
Yes.
It's bullshit. Like, what the fuck are you doing with my money? You're the ones that supposedly hold them. Like, yeah. I know you don't, but anyway, why are you entitled to ask me that question and not the other way around? Like, it's so weird.
Yeah. And then that is the point when you realize the power of Bitcoin, because you're paid almost instantly, right? And you can use your money almost instantly. There is no waiting time. No one can stop it. And your whole business can rely on getting paid in Bitcoin. And you never have to lose sleep about, will the money arrive? Will the money not arrive? It's literally, worst case scenario is a 10-minute wait. And if it takes longer, you literally just write the customer, sorry, there are no confirmations on the blockchain. Can you just, bounce the fee up a bit? being a bit stingy here with 1 cent per V-byte. It's not 2018 anymore, so please turn it up a bit. That would be great, right? That's the conversation that you have, but it's not like calling 7th level support for a week. Like, I could have done 200 other things in that time, right? So
a thought just struck me here. So hear me out here and see what I'd love to pick your brain on this. So if you got fiat liquidity in your company, so you have enough fiat, you could theoretically put any discount you want on the Bitcoin price of any product. So like if I put a 20% discount for those people who pay in Bitcoin, all that means is I have to wait on average 20% longer before number go up, right? So if you take it, the number can and will go up forever, then you could basically just charge whatever you want in Bitcoin, as long as the prices make some sort of sense, and then just wait.
That is something that we tried, and that is super difficult to do because you usually have like 14 to 30 days of a payment window, and that is way too short to do these kinds of gambles.
So you need to pay your supplier within those months, right?
Yes, exactly. There is like, usually you have 14 days or 30 days to pay them. Some suppliers have longer payment windows where you can, of course, try that. But I would recommend against it in the beginning because nothing is worse for your business relationships than paying invoices late. So, because like, again, since there are not as many Bitcoin companies as there are fiat companies, we have to lead by example. So the best thing I would recommend to do is just pay so early that they are confused about why you are paying so early. Because that is a super conversation. Like the story that I told you about the supplier for the electronics, that was exactly why he was so late back. Because everything else was paid on the same day. We placed an order, we pay it directly. They never heard of it because everyone else is like, yeah, so I'm starting a new business and can I have a 3-month payment window? Like, no, sure, pay up front, no problem.
Of course. What follow-up question?
Yes.
That supplier, is he now orange-pilled?
He is not, but that is because of German regulations.
Okay. But at some point, like every supplier will be orange-pilled too. Like we just have to work on it. And
yes.
This is the thing. If you build business relationships and you have a relation with this and that company, I mean, why not start the Bitcoin conversation at one point and just try to orange-pill them and tell them about the advantages?
Knut, what are you doing over there?
I'm stamping my seed. Everyone tells me I should. It's good for Bitcoin security and whatnot, and that I should go balls deep into Bitcoin security. So I'm stamping.
No, you don't do it like that, Knut. You don't stamp that seed. You stamp your seed phrase.
What?
Your seed phrase.
Oh, so that's what these things are for. All of this stuff that they sent me. Like, I get it now.
That's exactly right, Knut. And you can get everything you need to stamp your seed phrase at stampseed.com. And be sure to check out our limited edition Everything Divided by 21 Million titanium seed plate. And use code Infinity at checkout for 15% off.
That's fantastic. And it hurts way less.
This show is brought to you by the Bitcoin Advisor, your premier destination for professional Bitcoin management.
Yeah, so if you want help with your Bitcoin inheritance planning or anything like that, you can call us or send us a DM because we're Bitcoin advisors.
Exactly. They've been serving Bitcoin clients since 2016, and they offer a top-notch Bitcoin concierge service, including collaborative custody and estate planning. We're on the Bitcoin Advisor team ourselves because we believe 100% in what they're doing, and we're happy to tell you more about the Bitcoin Advisor on a call.
So check out thebitcoinadvisor.com or just simply shoot us a DM for some Bitcoin advice. Hey, dear listener, don't forget to like, subscribe, and brush your teeth.
And if you're enjoying the show, the best way you can help us out is spreading the word on your favorite social media platform. Ours is Nostr. The show is going Nostr first, posting the episodes on Nostr 1 day early. And if you'd like to support the show, the easiest way to do that is to send us a zap on Nostr, use a value for value podcasting app to send us a boost, or pick something up from the Bitcoin Infinity store. We appreciate the support.
Yeah, go click like, go click subscribe, and go brush your teeth now.
Exactly. That's why I'm super pumped about our new Swiss store because we have new Swiss suppliers there. And maybe I can just announce it here, so it's way cooler. So we will do a wine tasting in Lugano at the speakers dinner, and it's not any wine tasting. It's a journey through Europe, through European wines. So I know you both like wine since you're also having your own type of brand. And we got one of the biggest wine suppliers and distributors in Switzerland to say yes to a cooperation. And that will be their test balloon to see what Bitcoiners are like as a customer base. So while you are tasting the exquisite wines of Europe, you can also help with adoption by consider buying a case of wine. So it's a win-win for everyone. So you get great wine, you can taste it beforehand, and you can have it home delivered within Switzerland. So that's our little cool event coming there at the speakers dinner, which will be on the 25th of October. So in Lugano. So please, people, if you haven't thought about going to Lugano, you have one reason more. Get the Cypherpunk ticket for it. And and when you use our travel service to go there, you can actually win a golden ticket to this specific event. So first come, first serve. Happy hunting. Let the Hunger Games begin. Who can get the gold ticket
and
to our wine tasting?
And is there a picture of Lando Wonka on this golden ticket of yours?
And we are still working on the design. It could be. It could be.
I think Lando Wonka is a great idea.
That could work. That could work, yeah.
I've got a golden ticket. Yes.
Yeah, I won't be singing because I promised my wife that I should not sing in public because, like, I'm not the best singer.
Yes, I promised my wife that I will go as far as to Lugano before I start singing. So that's okay. Good. Yeah.
That's a fair point. So then we can sing together appropriately.
Fantastic. Yeah, Lugano is going to be great.
All good. And Lando, yeah, it's awesome. Like, I mean, it's great to learn more about kind of what's going on under the hood. And I mean, just I'll comment on my experience a little bit, just in general with paying with Bitcoin. I mean, it's awesome to pay for stuff with Bitcoin because it's just so easy. You get all of the fiat bullshit completely out of the way. And I mean, it's just a complete shift in mindset, right? Like, there is no one backstopping you. If you send Bitcoin to someone, you're relying on the other party to deliver what they're delivering, and so it's just a complete flip. There's a bigger emphasis on trust, on making sure that whoever is going to so if someone says they're going to do something, that they actually are going to do something. It's a total mindset shift, but it's so easy. That's the best part. And I mean, the other thing that I hear people kind of get hung up on as well is that, well, they don't want to spend their Bitcoin on anything. They'd rather spend their fiat. And it's like, well, okay, yeah, that's fine. It's fine to hodl and everything. But on the other hand, just spend and replace. I mean, that's the easiest solution to this. Is like, if you're going to spend some money on Bitcoin, well, then go stack by whatever method you want, right? And then you're whole. Maybe even put a little bit extra into it and just make that the way you do it. But I mean, we livers of the internet, like we live on the internet now, are connected with so many people through Twitter, Nostr, all of this. Like, being able to just freely transact with anyone and not have to worry about, can I accept your currency? Can you accept my currency? You know what I mean? Like, it's seriously just so simple, and Bitcoiners really should try it. That's my personal message on this. If there's any hang-ups on actually spending with Bitcoin, I think the one thing is availability, right? So this is just coming back into it, why it's so awesome to have ShopInBit and any other merchant that accepts Bitcoin. But ShopInBit, like, you guys are out here like flying the flag and like spend your Bitcoin on stuff that's easy. We make it easy for you. And so it's a great service. Actually, I'm gonna come to so that was all commentary, but like practical question on this. Like it's European based, but it works worldwide. Is that true?
Yes. So the products that we have on the website are directly available within the EU and some countries outside of the EU. But I would recommend for people who are coming from outside of the EU to just ask our concierge service first if we can ship the product there, because there are some restrictions on products. For our Swiss customers, they don't have to use the ShopInBit.com website in the near future anymore. So 25th of October is our release date. So ShopInBit.ch will be the website for our Swiss customers. And yeah, regarding spend and replace, I think also that that's the best strategy. And I think as a general rule of thumb for any Bitcoiners out there who are listening right now and still on the fence about spending Bitcoin at all, the question is, why do you still have so much fiat lying around if you're so committed, right? So I think the being hesitant about spending your Bitcoin and not replacing it, or just outright refusing to try out spend and replace, is more due to not having a big enough stack that you actually feel secure. So it's the same as if you like have no savings at all. It doesn't even matter if it's Bitcoin or not, right? So having no savings at all is like a dangerous way to live, even if you like to live dangerously. But, you know, like having savings is a good idea regardless of the currency. But of course, I would recommend to have more savings in a currency that cannot be easily inflated, or actually programmable, not inflated. So, you know, just a train of thought, maybe you just need some more Bitcoin. Because there is one point. At one point, you have enough Bitcoin, and where you literally have no other benefit of having more Bitcoin. Like Michael Saylor, like he's my favorite fiat bro, because he's been talking about getting gains on Bitcoin. What the fuck are you talking about, right? This is not where Bitcoin comes from. We're not here for making gains. We're about having hard money and living free markets and living the freedom infinity, right? It's why would you need to have extra gains? He literally already has over 1,000 Bitcoins. I don't know, 5, 6. I don't know what the current numbers. I really don't care.
Well, MicroStrategies or his own?
MicroStrategies.
Yeah, that's over 210,000.
Oh my fucking God. Like
over 1% of the supply.
How much do you need anymore? Like there's literally no point. There is no point that if we achieve, or when we achieve, the hyper Bitcoinized world, there is no way any company could spend that type of cash. Never. You can literally never go bankrupt, because that's Rockefeller in comparison. Back in his time, he would be like looking like a street bum to you if you had 1% of the total supply of money available. Like, and then you still need more Bitcoin. Like, what type of life do you live? Are you like smoke or something? You need to like you want to sit on a mountain and eat the money, or what? That's a ridiculous thought. So to me, like,
there are so many things to unpack here, because it's a fun conversation, the whole yield on Bitcoin thing. Because the thing is, what I think, unfortunately, even MicroStrategy will have to learn the lesson of not your keys, not your coins one day. Like, and so will El Salvador and every other big institution that allegedly holds Bitcoin. Because at the end of the day, it's just it's in someone's brain. Someone's keeping a secret from someone. That's what's keeping the Bitcoin safe. Even if you have a multi-sig, people can collude with one another, and they're like, this stuff is tough. Like, it's tough to secure a Bitcoin. So there comes a point where the stack is so big, so it's just not worth it anymore, because the risk is too high. Like, so what you're saying is entirely correct. There comes a point where your Bitcoin are worth so much that it's costlier for you to keep them safe than to just spend some of it and keep that leveled out forever, so to speak. So on that note, I'd recommend for everyone in the world who cannot spend and replace to not spend until their stack is big enough. Like spend after 10 years, hodl and spend later. Like if you can't spend and replace. If you can spend and replace, then spend and replace. I mean, just be yourself, except if you can be Batman, then be Batman. That's the saying, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Better be Batman.
It's exactly this. This is exactly what it's about. So if you're not able to be Batman yet, just be yourself, hodl, shut the fuck up, sit down, stay humble, stack that, sell your shares or all of this stuff, and then be Batman 10 years down the line.
Yeah. And even if you don't want to sell your shares, there's a way to live in very different forms. Like you could also ask the same question to Michael Saylor. Why is he not Batman? Because if you indirectly have access to 1% of the total supply of Bitcoin.
How do you know he isn't? He is Bitman after all, right?
Yeah.
So,
then again, the question, why would you need 5% gains on that? Like, there is no psychological upside to having more Bitcoin at that point. Even
unless,
but it's like, for like, there's
unless you're
like,
trying to build the biggest company in the history of mankind and trying to be the world's Bitcoin bank at some point.
Did you come to Bitcoin to build a bank? Like, I'm sorry, but like,
yeah, it's not going to work, but it could be, it could explain the ambition. I'm just saying, I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying this could be an explainer for the incentive. Or you just want to be altruistic as fuck because you want to die with the entire stack and take it with you to your grave, and thereby making everyone, indirectly richer in Bitcoin because scarcity goes up.
Okay, maybe that's just not the strategy for me.
Exactly. But, as you know, since you're a Rothbardian, we all have different motives, you know?
Yeah. That's I have to think about what his motives could be. But I was just very appalled of this 5% gain thing.
Me too. Because
struck me like, bro, why?
No, but the thing is, that works as long as fiat works. But the funny thing is about all of these fiat midterm strategies is that all roads lead to Bitcoin in the end, because Bitcoin is the only way to protect yourself from exactly these types of games. So they might work for another 50 years, but in the end, they won't work anymore because people won't fall for it. And it's not risk-free. Like if you take out loans and stuff and do stuff with your Bitcoin that is other stuff than just hodling them, then you are more at risk. Like if you just hodl them, the risk is practically zero. Like all the risk is with the entire network. Like the personal risk is almost zero if you just take control of your keys and don't do anything with them. But as soon as you start trying to make your Bitcoins work for you and all of this stuff, then then you introduce more risk, never less. So I think that these things will inevitably, like extrapolating as far into the future as you need, it's inevitable at some point that all the Bitcoins that are at risk will disperse and go to safer havens within the network.
Exactly. So I guess the best point of or course of action that you could take is to just accept Bitcoin and you be a part of it. Like it can be anything, like hairdressers, restaurants, ghostwriters. I don't know.
If you're a hairdresser, don't sell your shares.
Yeah,
it would suck to stand up and get your haircut. And if you need new chairs, you can go to ShopInBit and buy them.
Yes,
anonymously and shipped to any hair salon in the world.
Yeah, that is also the case. So I think that would be like my wish for all your listeners is like, if you have the chance to accept Bitcoin, please do it. Be the brand awareness campaign that literally makes you more money. That's what it means to accept Bitcoin directly, because it's literally just brand awareness. If people see that they can spend their Bitcoin at every corner on the internet or in real life, then this is the perfect signal to send out. And also, you can just live a better, freer life by accepting Bitcoin, because all your income is not tied to fiat money, railways, which can be blocked at any time for giving the wrong comments on the wrong forum, or just being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Just need to accept Bitcoin. This is a very little task. And please don't come at me with talks about it's complicated to do it. I was able to do it, and my programming skills are JavaScript children course from Khan Academy. The guys from BTC Pay Server, they made it so easy to accept Bitcoin directly. You cannot tell me that you can't do it. And if you really have problems setting it up, and if you have a company, then just go to your IT admin and tell him, and he will tell you that he can install it in 2 minutes. It's ready to roll. It's so simple. Like, seriously, this is the easiest thing you can do. It costs little time, and you make Bitcoin with it. This shouldn't be a discussion, but somehow it still is.
And I'll echo this as well. That's what our site runs on, bitcoininfinity.com or bitcoininfinitystore.com. We're not on the same level as you with ShopInBit in terms of selection, but all of our books from Lemniscape Media, plus all these other things, we accept Bitcoin for it. That's the entire point of setting up that website. We could have just set up the publishing company through Amazon, put the books on Amazon. People can get books there. But we made the website 100% only because we could accept Bitcoin with it, and we use BTC Pay Server. There is no second best when it comes to that at this point. Yeah,
I'll second that. So please buy books and other merch from bitcoininfinitystore.com.
If you need giant green things, you go to ShopInBit instead. And sometimes it's better to light a giant green candle than curse the darkness. That's the saying of the day, I think.
Perfect. I love it. I will steal that and put it as your recommendation on our website. Light the green candle.
All right, Lando, it's been a lovely conversation, and we're looking forward to all the fun things we'll do in the future, conferencing-wise and business-wise, and just hanging out-wise and wine tasting-wise, wise old man-wise. So except for ShopInBit, is there anywhere else you want to direct our listeners to on the internet?
So shopinbit.com/BitcoinInfinity is our landing page for Luke and Knut. So if you want to have the chance to win the golden ticket and also get the first hour free consultation for your travel needs by trade-in, you go through this link, shopinbit.com/BitcoinInfinity, book it there, have some fun, have nice traveling to Lugano, and hopefully we'll see you at the wine tasting. Otherwise, we are on Twitter, Instagram, but not yet on Nostr. Me, myself, I'm on Nostr, but I post so sparingly because I just spend time with my family and work. There's no in between. Like, I'm a madman.
You're busy selling shares, aren't you?
I'm busy selling shares and loop, of course, and travels. So please check out shopinbit.com.
For all your lubing needs. Yes.
And if you're from Switzerland, you can check out shopinbit.ch. It will be going online on the 25th, but right now you can sign up for our newsletter. And we are very happy if you use your simple login email addresses and not your clear name email addresses. Please don't do that. Use some kind of obfuscation for your emails, or at least make a secondary email address that is not directly connected to your real name for more privacy, of course. And I think that's it.
Yeah, fantastic tips. So once again, Lando, thank you. And see you in Lugano. I love that you picked the 25th of October. That's one of my favorite dates as well. I'll tell you later why.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. And I wish you all the success with the Freedom Infinity Show. I would just call it like that for now on. It's the Freedom Infinity Show with Luke and Knut. So please subscribe, like, share, whatever. I don't know how this works, but please do that if you're listening.
Yes, brush your teeth. That's the only thing you left out.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely awesome, Lando. This has been a blast. Thanks again. I'll echo that from Knut. Looking forward to seeing you. And this has been the Bitcoin Infinity Show. I think I have to stay on brand. Thanks for listening.